gentlemen, it is time for the finale to Bellum Quintet 3. Our first team to compete, please make some noise for Team Cicero Costha. And now, ladies and gentlemen, another big round of applause for their opponents. Team Tristar Montreal.
All right, welcome back, folks. We have our main event team championship between Cicero Costha and Tristar Montreal. First matchup, we have Shaquille Samedi from Action Reaction Cicero Costha taking on Javad Mahood, the Iranian Olympian. So Shaquille is actually on this team the only Canadian. I shouldn't say the only Canadian, but he is born and raised in Canada, with the rest of the team being comprised of Brazilian expats that have moved to Canada, and that says a lot about the quality of his jiu-jitsu. That the rest of the team were ringers that are brought in, and he is a local guy that's quite skilled.
The only homebred Canuck.
Exactly. And Javad, as we mentioned earlier, really interesting guy. Really interesting opponent.
It's a polar bear.
Yeah. Javad actually, between matches, if you watch the earlier match where he walked off the stage with David Garmo in a guillotine, he apologized to me and said he couldn't actually see where the edge of the stage was.
That makes sense.
Because he was lifting his head to relieve pressure from the guillotine. And I appreciated him being honorable enough to apologize and explain the situation.
Sometimes in the heat of the action, you just do whatever you can.
Just reacting, right?
Yeah.
But the ref made the right call, and I don't think it impacted the match.
No.
Shaquille coming back to that same position we've seen from Cicero Costha a great deal, that closed guard with the outside underhook. Shaquille had on our last show an amazing match against Urgis Sejeda, who recently won the World Championships at Purple Belt.
Now, in wrestling, a smaller guy going against a bigger guy usually doesn't happen because of weight classes.
Yes.
But say in training, they always say, touch and go. Don't, lock up and clinch with a bigger guy. In jiu-jitsu, what would you say to the smaller guy against, a big man like this?
The smaller guy in this situation, you want to avoid pinning. I understand Shaquille's reluctance to wrestle a guy like Javad.
Yep.
But at the same time, pulling guard, you really have to stay mobile. As soon as you get a big guy with that kind of experience on a heavy top position, you're just in for a nightmare. You even think about TJ and Steve Sims that we just saw, where there was an equal weight, and TJ was really uncomfortable there for a couple of minutes.
Oh. And this match is 4 minutes because of the...
Shaquille electing for the 4 minutes length of match, giving up over 44 pounds of weight. And as we said earlier, if the smaller athlete elects for the 8-minute match, they may be trying to submit, and the 4-minute match, the strategy may be to
just take him out with you,
to survive and eliminate a dangerous opponent.
Again, this is where that strategy, the quintet, comes into play.
One of my favorite things about the format, it becomes a genuine chess game with different pieces and different ways to play them.
Kind of might have to sacrifice a pawn to take a rook out.
Exactly. And from a coaching standpoint, this is something I find fascinating. Just the intellectual exercise of it is really exciting. See the entire Tristar team, the entire Cicero Costha team, crowding the corners, encouraging their teammates. Last minute of action here. Shaquille doing a really good job staying mobile and offering credible threats on the big man, and not just playing for a stall or a drop.
Again, here's that same position we talked about.
Yep.
Now he's switching off differently here. Oh, nice sweep from it.
Yep.
He's still on the bottom.
30 seconds left. My sense from the first two matches that we saw is that Cicero is slow playing these matches and being very patient, where Tristar is shotgunning submission attempts. 15 seconds. Again, one of the problems with these toe holds is when there's a power discrepancy like this. I mean, you're fighting the strength of his leg, as well as the strength of the ligaments.
I don't think we haven't seen one finished yet.
From Cicero?
A toe hold, yeah.
No, we've seen. That's probably the 20th toe hold attempt we've seen tonight. Not a single finish.
Not a finish.
Put him on the shelf, boys.
Ladies and gentlemen, since neither fighter was able to achieve a submission, both fighters have been eliminated.
Eamon Zahabi taking the stage for Tristar against Fausto Godoy for Cicero Costha.
It was Eamon's first time on the mat. He didn't get to compete last time.
It's actually, he was mentioning in one of his interviews, this is his first time competing in submission grappling. He's a current UFC fighter, brother of Faraz Zahabi, and one of the head coaches at Tristar. Both of these teams have such an enormous amount of resources at their disposal in terms of quality training partners and quality coaches. I love seeing how this plays out over a team philosophy as opposed to individual performances. And you are seeing that develop over the course of the night.
And we're back to the 8-minute match here.
This actually may be close to that 40-pound difference. I know
it's got to be close, yeah.
Is 210.
And Eamon fights at 135 in the UFC,
so depending what he walks around at, he may have elected for the longer match. If he thinks he has a chance of catching Fausto.
And maybe getting him fatigued and take him to deep waters.
Especially because this is Eamon's first match tonight. He's not dealing with any kind of attrition. A little low on the leg. Same thing, looking for that toe hold. You got to be careful committing too hard to those leg locks. You may end up giving up your back. Fausto makes a good adjustment. Keep your hips above the joint that you were attacking, not on it or below it. No leverage in that position.
It'd be the same as attacking an armbar below the elbow.
Exactly. Right? With leg locks, there can sometimes be an emotional reaction from opponents where they may overreact. Mm-hmm. So not a terrible strategy attacking it. Eamon doing a good job controlling the legs of Fausto. Looking to circle and control without giving up any of the De La Hiva positions that Cicero Costha really enjoys. Playing those inversions. See how dangerous it is to step between the guard of any of these Cicero players.
Right into that omoplata position.
Right into that omoplata position.
He's controlling the hip.
He is. This is, as we talked about earlier, maybe not the strongest submission, but can often lead to positional improvements.
Right. Oh. Switching off to, nice scramble. Tried to switch off to a knee bar there, it looked like.
Yep. We're 0 for 25 on toe hits for this evening.
Yeah. I think that's what you're seeing. Like, so many guys usually go for those heel hooks, but they're just resorting to toe hooks because that's all there's.
There's also sometimes a sense that you can grab the toe and roll through, and it looks like a submission attempt to the judges without really putting yourself in any harm. Oh, Fausto looking for an interesting variation of that knee bar, almost like an arm crush.
He's trying to work his way down the leg here.
Yeah, getting those hips above the knee, like we talked about, is a credible place to attack. You can see Ethan, Oliver, and Pierre in the corner yelling leg lock advice to Eamon. Eamon's focus, of course, on MMA as a UFC fighter. The other athletes on the team are almost entirely grappling-based combat athletes. 5 minutes remaining in this match. Really mobile hips from Fausto.
He was doing a good job of throwing him side to side and trying to create that pass, but Costha does a good job of bringing his legs back inside.
Yeah, anytime that Eamon actually does commit to trying to step around the legs, he ends up in a leg entanglement or that omoplata, where you can see that Fausto may be setting traps with how his hips are moving.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, he's got really solid three-dimensional movement, inverting as well as pivoting side to side. Really good hip movement. You can see why Fausto is the number 2 rated brown belt in the world at his weight. Nice knee cut pass from Eamon. Very nice.
Nice back take.
Excellent job. Oh, and Fausto, those high level guys, man, they know exactly what's coming next. He did a great job getting those elbows in his hips, clearing the hooks and getting to a neutral position.
Just under 4 minutes left here.
Team trophy and individual trophies for each of the guys. I don't know if there's a protocol if you want to announce them,
Okay. I'll ask you.
Back into a wrestling position. And the size difference between the two men is more prevalent when you see them on their feet.
Yeah, you can definitely.
Fausto
Eamon being the much smaller man.
Yeah, Fausto not engaging at all in the wrestling though, electing to pull guard.
Yeah.
Even if you are a guard player, it can sometimes benefit you to work your opponent in wrestling, make them tire themselves out, make them carry your weight, and then start to put them in positions where you can threaten submissions.
So as your own opinion as a referee seeing this, Eamon's trying to pass. He's not having that much success, but he's trying to. He's pushing the pace. Whereas Fausto's on his back. If this went to a decision, who's the judges going to look to?
So that's a tough call. In my opinion, I think Fausto has been probably a little bit more active in terms of submissions, where Eamon might be more active in terms of positional attack.
Okay.
In this type of competition, we favor the attempt to submit. Right? We don't play chess to collect pieces. We play chess to kill the king.
Attacking that arm.
Attacking that arm, rolling out. Did a good job freeing that shoulder. And you can see sometimes that gi players will not elicit the same type of control over joints in transition because they're used to having the gi as a way to control that movement. I think that may have been what you just saw there.
That's why I love the no-gi game so much more. The gi is great. It's so technical, but it does slow things down. The no-gi,
it's a different game and a different sport. There's beautiful things about both.
Yep.
Good job by Tony to keep the two athletes safe and in the center.
We got under 2 minutes here.
Nice shot by Eamon. Wow. Very nice single leg. Fausto, though, with I think it's his hip and leg flexibility that allows him to move so fluidly into these positions.
Yeah.
Less than 90 seconds left on the clock. Heyman settling into Fausto's guard.
Bora, Faustola, só mais você, moleque. 1 minuto. Vai nessa perna aí, bola na perna. Bola nessa perna aí, vai.
It's a bit of a dead guard position. I might be chastising Heyman for passivity.
Fausto's going for that knee bar again.
But again, you know,
Below the knee.
below the knee doesn't really strike me as anything more than an attempt to score points and to remain active, of course. 30 seconds remaining. See Heyman gesturing to Fausto. Not impressed with the passivity. Tony warning Fausto. Oh, nice flying arm. Whoa, 5 seconds left. Oh,
Nice roll out from Heyman.
wow.
Great finish.
Wow, really cool, guys. Show of respect between the athletes after the match. There was a nice attempt by Fausto in a short time.
Yep.
I actually thought he had that arm for a second.
Ladies and gentlemen, since neither fighter was able to obtain a submission, both fighters have been eliminated.
All right, up next we have Oliver Taza, Ethan Krellensten versus Fabricio Barbarati. These men look to be roughly of equal size. Fabricio a black belt, Ethan a brown belt. Fabricio threatening some leg entanglements. Ethan replying in turn.
É a passagem para a costa. Não tá pra braço, não tá pra baixo. Entra e sai.
Oh, another
Jump triangle.
Jumping triangle attempt. Cicero more aggressive this round than they were in the first round.
Made it to the finale now. Let it all out.
Time to open up the throttle a little bit.
Muito bem. Já sentiu a força já. Volta pra baixo. Aí, ó. Tá em casa agora. Isso. Vai amarrando ele.
Trying to reap over that hip, but Ethan has his knee.
Oh. Now again, go for that knee bar. Looked like he was in the right position for a second there.
Yeah, but Ethan made a good adjustment with the hip. But again, as I said, these both of these teams very familiar with leg locks. You see on Team Tristar, Scramble has sponsored Team Tristar, great company. Leg triangle on the outside for Fabricio. Still looking to find some of those isolations, those toe holds.
Nice roll. Oh.
Very nice, very nice. Again, whenever you see those types of anytime you see those types of leg entanglements, there's the possibility for both athletes to progress. Referee Tony Isaacs electing to start the athletes back standing since he didn't feel that a solid position had been established. I wasn't able to see the finish of that move when Tony asked for action to stop. Team Tristar certainly not happy. Ethan pulling to that half butterfly guard, looking to invert up. Again, we saw Alex Vasilak earlier in the evening hit that beautiful inside Sengaku entrance from that modified half butterfly. Ethan transitioned to a top position.
That was nice.
That was really nice. Did a good job keeping heavy hips on those legs to prevent Fabricio from inverting out.
5 minutes left in the third match.
Neither team carrying any
penalties or submissions so far.
Ethan settling into mount. Restarting the center in that solid mount position. As we commented every time this has popped up tonight, solid position to control, not the easiest to submit from. And the more experienced your opponent, the less you're able to even control that position for very long. Especially when we don't have the gi to help. You can sometimes force reactions.
Right, force reaction, but overall usually end up either going aside or they get quarter or half guard back.
Exactly. You can see Ethan trying to use that knee as a wedge behind Fabricio's shoulder. Fabricio a little too aware to allow that to develop.
Nice pass. The knee cut pass by Ethan.
Yep. Now starting to look to be able to threaten a little bit more. We'll see maybe a back take here.
You can use that one hook.
Fabricio leg entangling to try to prevent that inversion. He knows what Ethan's after here.
He's got his leg tangled up.
Is there a back step maybe into that knee bar? We've got about 3 minutes left in this round. Sort of a half 50-50 position.
Really kind of funky position to be in.
Sometimes end up in these positions in jiu-jitsu that you've never seen before, and you have to use your knowledge-based and creative problem solving to figure it out. Looking to unlock that body triangle or that leg triangle. Tony Isaacs warning Fabricio that just locking that triangle and holding it is stalling.
Yep.
You can see he's coming back to it, not trying to progress. You can see Tony starting to think about this penalty. Fabricio, okay. Fabricio starting to move now. Maybe offer a credible threat. 2.5 minutes left.
And Ethan stuck in this position.
Yeah, Fabricio really committing to that leg triangle. As I was saying earlier, when I see an athlete triangle their legs that way, unless something's isolated, they are just stalling that position. Trying to attack that straight ankle lock, but does not have a good angle on it.
No.
Tira pra dentro, velho. Tira pra dentro, velho. Arregaça a dinheiro pra dentro. Se tu ataca pra fora...
Like we've mentioned earlier, going after that straight ankle, it's more of a pain submission. And when guys put that boot on, as we call it, the defense, it's just so hard to finish it.
That can be slightly different if there's a reaping situation, because you can get some shearing action across the knee.
Hip, yeah.
But certainly won't see that in any kind of straight ankle lock.
Under 90 seconds now.
Back to this 50-50. As I said, 50-50, not one of my favorite leg lock positions because of the nature of the Mexican standoff, where both guys can threaten, both guys have to defend. I just prefer odds to be stacked a little less evenly if I have my preference. 1 minute remaining. Neither of these athletes really attacking toe holds, but they're kind of using that position to clear legs. My sense watching this match is that Fabricio's been playing for a stall. Yeah, he's been holding positions and he's not really been threatening all that much. I think he's looking to eliminate Krell instead. 15 seconds.
There's really no leverage on that ankle right now at all.
He's attacking at the calf. That's nowhere near any part of the body that has a vulnerable joint or even many nerves to attack.
3 up, 3 down.
Yes, sir. No penalties on the board yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, since neither fighter was able to obtain a submission, both fighters have been eliminated.
Up next, again, a fairly evenly matched bout between Pedro Veras and Oliver Taza. Pedro Veras representing Cicero Costha's team. Oliver Taza, of course, representing Tristar. Both these athletes had good performances in their opening round. Oliver
got a couple submissions,
submitting two opponents, and then fighting to a draw with the third. All in, almost
taking out
20 plus minutes of continuous grappling. So I have to see if that type of early output in the night impacts him in this match. Of course, all these athletes in phenomenal shape, world-class competitors.
Já sabe na dele, velho. Já sabe a dele, velho. Na dele vai já sabe, velho.
Oh. Taza looking for that knee bar.
Oh, very nice, very nice. He's got that
around the arm.
I call it I'm a little teapot knee bar. This is my handle, this is my spout. Pedro changing the angle enough that Oliver no longer has the necessary leverage to attack.
That knee bar there, the one you call the little teapot, you can just generate so much force and leverage using your whole body, not just your arms.
And it's framed between your chest and your hips in a way that brings your core to bear in a way that most submissions just can't. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite variations. Nice angle here.
Kind of right back to that same spot we were at in our last match.
Leg entanglement, that leg triangle on the backside. Pummeling through to modified X guard. Again, transitioning back to the other side triangle. Oliver aggressively attacking for the past minute. Pedro been on his back foot, just reacting. Pedro locking up an ankle, looking to threaten. Again, you can see Oliver has a length advantage over Pedro, which can make those types of ankle locks difficult. Oliver getting body weight on that foot, protecting the inside of the hip from that ashi. Pedro's grip a little high on that calf.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see Pedro look to control the inside of Oliver's other knee. He may have been able to come up with something out of that, but the single leg control just doesn't elicit enough leverage. 6 minutes remaining.
rima não profunda. Não vai nada da rima profunda, velho.
Tem 6 de luta aí.
Tá chutando, cuidado.
Você tá muito bem, Pedro. Tá dando uns botes muito bons, Pedro.
Não deixa essa dele arriba muito profunda, deixa ela meia solta, velho. Essa dele arriba tá perfeita, tá perfeita.
Nem nada, tá dando uns botes loucos.
Solta.
And coming back to that same leg antagonism we've seen, you can see Oliver protecting the inside of his hip with his elbow to prevent that ashy position and giving up the hip control. It can sometimes lead to an estema lock as well if your opponent's over-aggressive about feeding that foot through.
Taz taking some deep breaths.
Again, as we said, he's now approaching almost 30 minutes of grappling this evening. Sure to take a toll on any athlete, especially with a high anxiety.
Yeah, in the gym you could do that all day, but when it's live competition in front of people,
and this
it's
is
a
an
different
even
story.
individual. You've got your teammates cheering you on.
Yep.
It's hard to manage emotion and output.
Yeah, it's not just the pressure on yourself. You got your pressure of your team. You don't want to let down as well.
Got to comment again on how great these under the gi rash guards look. Really phenomenal job.
Falta 4,5. 4,5 de luta.
Tá muito bom, velho.
Taz playing a heavy forward game. Most of the athletes competing against Cicero Costha tonight have played long and stayed away from that. De La Riva game, Oliver electing to go in the opposite direction, try to flatten and pin Pedro. Control those legs, got the knee cut again. Pedro doing a great job with that flexibility. All of Cicero Costha's hips, very mobile, very flexible. It's clearly something they work and train as part of their game, and it's given them a lot of strength coming up against Tristar, a deep leg lock team. Less than 4 minutes, we're past the halfway mark in this match. So lots of time for either athlete to catch a sub. Here you see that flexibility coming into play.
Yeah.
Oliver trying some creative stuff. I don't hate that. Figuring out how to get past those legs. Again, that heavy forward pressure. Looking to pin and kill those hips. Sometimes you'll have athletes that roll up to relieve some of the pressure on the hips, and it can lead to a back tape. Obviously, Pedro flexible enough to play this game.
Vamos trabalhar o cartão por em cima de puder, velho. 3 minutos. Ó, igual trabalhar embaixo, por em cima.
Last 3 minutes.
Com a pressão por em cima é muito boa, hein? Não vai dobrar com a pressão por em cima. Ele não vai aguentar essa pressão por em cima.
Again, Taza coming in aggressively.
Even before, leg locks became so popular, and John Danaher and things like that made them so popular. Before, everybody used to just attack the upper body so much.
Yeah.
Do you feel that now it's kind of, these grapplers here are amazing, but now that you see them, they're attacking only the legs, it looks like, for the most part.
So what you see in the way jiu-jitsu's developed over the past years is an arms race where people are trying to catch up, and so people overcommit to things like leg locks, and you see it overrepresented. That'll balance out. That pendulum will swing back, and you'll see a more balanced jiu-jitsu game where people understand how to attack and defend every part of the body, not just the parts that are socially acceptable in the country that you're originally from. Knee bar entrance from Taza. Taz is certainly the more aggressive of the two athletes in this match, constantly attacking. Pedro doing a very good job playing a difficult guard game, but not really offering many credible attacks. Both men breathing hard. Some mutual respect turning into a hand fight.
Yeah. We'll start here in the handshake and see who's got better grip.
Oliver playing sort of a half X guard here. Single leg X.
Do you like playing X guard game?
I do. Jeff Jocelyn, who was cornering Ryan Dixon earlier, introduced me to the X-Guard game probably a decade ago. Marcelo Garcia, an early advocate for the position. There's some really interesting things that we created off of that. 90 seconds left. Pedro now starting to be the one pushing the pace, maybe sensing that Oliver's a little fatigued. Again, the Cicero Costha fans in the crowd celebrating that guard pass.
I think this is the first time this match where we've had a solidified position where somebody who's past the legs or.
Yeah. We're at 1 minute remaining in this match. Very active match. Taza perhaps the worst for wear for those 3 matches that he had in the first round. Pedro controlling this position, but not attempting to submit.
He's got 30 seconds here.
Nice. 20 seconds. Final 5 seconds, and we can attempt something here.
Going for those both ankle locks.
And we have another draw.
Ladies and gentlemen, since neither fighter was able to obtain a submission, both fighters have been eliminated. The score is still tied at 0-0 going into the final bout.
So our final 2 grapplers coming up. So heading into our last match, we have a big size difference here between Gino Poirier, the wrestler from Tristar, and Igor Makaiber, the smallest member of Cicero Costha's team. Looks like Igor has elected for the full 8 minutes. I'm not sure if there's enough of a weight difference here for that to be an option or not. So there are no penalties on the board, and we have 4 draws. If this final match ends in a draw as well with no penalties, then the judges will elect a winner based on aggression and submission attempts.
Through all 5 matches.
Through all 5 matches, through the competition as a whole. See the strength of Gino, literally throwing Igor around.
Bola na perna dele, Igão. Bora, Igão, na tua.
Keep that right knee inside. Post on your right foot. Posting on your right foot.
Gino was having a really solid match against John Toth in the first round when he was caught in an armbar. Igor going to a draw against Francis Saint-Amour, avoiding a number of triangles on the way to that draw. Gino looking for a Kimura grip here. He set his hip out in a way that I like, that limits Igor's options in half guard.
Yeah, because if he sits up, he can potentially look for that sweep.
And if he looks to climb the legs, then Gino can pass.
Push his legs off your leg with your knee.
This is a solid threatening position. Gino looks like a strong kid as well. Not able to make anything happen from it though. Igor extracting his arm safely. Patro knee shield. Gino using some face pressure there. to control. Igor swiveling his foot and to control that upside arm.
Falta 6 minutos, Igor. Falta 6.
6 minutes remaining in the final match of this quintet championship.
Vamos jogar bem inteligente, assim como você está fazendo. Vamos imaginar uma posição que vai entrar. Vamos achar o momento certo e vamos entrar. Com paciência e com precisão. Tá? Vamos com calma. Tá muito bem.
Today's competition brought to you by Bellum MMA, one of the top MMA gyms in the country.
Vamos com bastante calma quando você está fazendo. Legs in the face, second time.
Boy, looking to threaten that knee cut. Igor doing a good job with reverse de la Riva.
Perde a cabeça.
Igor's may look to try to invert underneath. Igor, a relatively new addition to Cicero Costha team. Moving over from Novignan in the past 6 months. So may not have the same depth of experience with the reverse de la Riva that we saw from the rest of Cicero Costha. So that may be unfair. Gino's a big, strong wrestler, limiting movement. Less than 5 minutes remaining. Neither athlete being all that active. You may hear the referee offer some warnings,
Would he warning to Gino just for being the top position, kind of holding that stagnant?
It's hard to say. Both athletes here are a little bit stagnant. Gino
A little cautious,
but reacting to Tony's admonition. But Igor doing a good job with that reverse de la Riva, limiting the ability of Gino to knee cut pass. I'd actually like to see Gino start to circle to the other side as a way to kill that de la Riva hook, rather than just continuing to try to use weight and strength against a fairly solid position from Igor. Past the halfway mark, final 4 minutes in this quintet championship. Decide who will be the team champion of the evening.
Very good, Igor. You don't want to pass. You don't want to pass.
We've been playing in the same position now for about half this match. You can see Igor starting to look to dig for that leg. Now again, below the knee, not really a threatening leg position. Gino gets, you can see Tristar calling for Gino to get back to that top position. Again, back to our kind of modified half guard. This would be a good position for Gino to start knee cutting.
Yeah.
You can see he start to make that space. Good choice. I think Gino should make this match a little bit more physical. He's a big guy.
He's a bigger guy.
That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. Yeah.
The referee
Tony,
was kind of already stepping in to move him as he did the back take.
Let's see where he starts them. Probably from the head control.
Probably from the front headlock. Oh, no,
Okay.
the open.
3 minutes. It's always tough to have a clean call in the middle of an action. See French instructions coming from the Tristar.
We got Brazilian over here.
Portuguese,
excuse me.
coming from the Cicero corner.
Portuguese from the Brazilians.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a knee cut, but Igor did a good job of
Regarding, and again, you can see probably Gino stand and Igor looked to underhook that outside leg. Gino's got a long body type though, so he may be able to elicit more force on that guard.
Yeah.
See, he's digging for it again. I like the way Gino collapsed on that arm rather than letting Igor start to pull himself over. He's actually kind of taking the initiative and trapped that arm. 2 minutes remaining.
Gino actually looking at his corner and doing gestures of, this is what you want?
Yeah, you can see he's a coachable athlete, but also probably the least experienced jiu-jitsu player on the team. Oliver asking for Gino to split the hips with his knee. You can see Oliver is doing that very well against Pedro to threaten that guard early in the match.
Yeah.
90 seconds
I
left.
like to see him for the knee in the butt here.
Just old school, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's attack that guard. Let's attack that guard.
Old bare bones fundamentals that work, you know what I mean?
Especially against a big, strong wrestler.
We got coming up on our final minute here, the Bellum 3 Quintet.
It'll be interesting if this does go to a draw. It'll be interesting to see what the judges favor, because I think Tristar has probably been more aggressive in terms of attacking submission, where Cicero has been more aggressive in terms of attacking, controlling
Sweeps
position.
and control.
My sense is in a submission-based game, the submission should take the precedence, but we'll see how this plays out. 30 seconds remaining. Igor proving me wrong and digging for this knee bar. Looking for, there's a calf crush there. Gino is going to want to straighten his leg, or at least avoid hip control. Yeah, Gino not liking that face touch. A little back and forth.
Nothing wrong with a little face push.
10 seconds left. Don't think we'll see a submission here, which means we will see the judge's decision. Time running out. Let's see how this plays out with the judge.
Igor?
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it has come down to referee decision. The winner, Cicero Costha. And congratulations to Cicero Costha, Pedro Veras, Fausto Godoy, Rodrigo Gotari, Igor Mokaiber, Shaquille Samadi, and Fabricio Barbarati.